I put in the work. I deserve better. I'm going to go after it. Yo, what is up, everybody? I'm going to get right to it because I've been hearing this for quite some time, all throughout my medical education process. I hear it from people who are trying to work their way up the corporate ladder. It's been said time and time again, and I honestly think it's because of social media. I honestly think it's because people see people who they think are successful and they see all these assets they have, right? Or they see them accomplishing things that they want to accomplish and they just see that end result. But they didn't see all the work, maybe over months, maybe over years, for them to even get to that point. And so, what I really want to talk about is putting in the work and then taking that leap of faith. A lot of times people even see people with those assets or even with money and they're like, man, that should be me. I feel like I can do everything that they can do, but why don't I have it, right? And a lot of times these individuals, and I'll just speak on my particular experience when people say, I can feel like I can be a doctor just like you. I feel like I can maybe even be a doctor better than you if I had the chance. The problem is that a lot of individuals are afraid to put in the work to get. I put 16 years into school and training to get to where I am today. I hate to be the bad guy. I hate to be the boogeyman. I hate to be that guy who just is the bearer of bad news. I'm just speaking from my experience. Obviously, it takes a while to become a doctor, especially if you specialize. And, a lot of people don't want to put in that work. A lot of people don't want to put in those long nights. They want to fast forward the years to get to that end result just because they want what comes with that. But it takes a lot of work to get up to that point, whether you're in medicine, whether you're in corporate, whether you got dreams of being in the league, right? There is a lot of work that goes in before you see those end results. And here's the thing, once you put in that work, you got to take that leap of faith. Let's say you're a student. I'll just use my example again, and you want to get into medical school, right? Bright guy, bright woman. And you're putting in that work as a pre-med student in college, but you're scared to take that leap of faith and saying that I'm going to actually apply to these medical schools. I'm going to apply to a school that I feel like I may not be able to get into just because it's all mental, right? It's all that train of thought that, I may not be good enough. And once you put in that work, and I did it in that order for a reason, put in the work, take a leap of faith. Once you put in that work, you have to be bold enough to take that leap of faith and say that, you know what? I put in the work. I deserve better. I'm going to go after it. And it's a risk. It's a risk that you're taking, right? It's a risk to say that, I'm going to do what very few individuals are willing to do. I'm going to be that woman. I'm going to be that guy who says, you know what? Despite the environment that I see myself in, despite maybe my family not doing this exact pathway, maybe I don't have the appropriate mentorship as of right now, but you know what? I feel like I have the ability. I feel like I have the mental capacity. I feel like I can achieve this. So I'm going to grind. I'm going to put in the work to be able to do this, and I'm going to take that leap of faith to actually do it. And it takes consistency, guys. It's not just once you kind of get into that arena, for example, the example I used earlier, once you get into med school, it's that level of consistency every single day, day in and day out, getting into that habit, getting into that grind that I'm pushing towards something that is bigger than myself as of right now, right? And a lot of people get stuck because, one, the fear of failure. Let's be just straight up about it. What if what I'm going after doesn't work out? You have to know internally that if it doesn't work out the first time, you want it bad enough where you're willing to try again. When I came out of my pre-med track, when I was coming out of college, I did not get into med school in the first round. What did I have to do? I had to pivot. Why did I pivot? Because I knew I can get into med school. I just knew it. I just knew that I can get in, and it just wasn't my time right now. So what did I do? I pivoted. I did a master's program. Doing that master's took me from getting one med school interview to 14 med school interviews with a scholarship. Nothing to brag about, but I'm just showing you that I was willing to take that risk. It would have been easy just to give up and say, you know what? Maybe med school is not for me. Maybe I'm not that guy, right? I don't have anybody in my family who's a doctor. It's just easier if I just go and find a job. And there's nothing wrong with just going out and finding a job. But if your passion is towards something and you're that willing just to give it up on the first failure, was it really your passion? I knew that I had to put in the work. I put in that work through the whole entire master's process. And I took that leap of faith and I applied again. Guys, it's a simple 1-2. The process is not simple, but the 1-2 is still the same. Other reasons, people are waiting for that perfect moment. I will even talk about content creation. People have so many bright ideas all the time. They're thinking of constant ideas. Ooh, it'd be so good if I can do that. Look at these content creators and look how much money that they're getting. I could do that. I could do that. I can do that. Now, I'm no big famous content creator by any kind of means. But what I will say, the same 1-2 applies. Sitting down, putting in the work, taking that leap of faith and taking these ideas that you have, getting in front of the camera and taking that leap of faith and actually uploading it. A lot of people, you'll be surprised how many people don't even get to that stage. I'm afraid of what my family may think. I'm afraid of how I may sound. I'm afraid of how I may look. I don't got my hair done. I don't got that crispy lineup. I'm afraid of how I may come off, right? And they stay in the planning stage forever until they eventually just give up on their dreams, right? You're doubting your own ability because of fear. Fear is literally controlling all your movements. Once you step out of your comfort zone, take that leap of faith. Even more importantly, according to my 1-2, you are putting in that work, and it has to be that momentum switch, right? It has to be a point where you go, I can do this. Let's go for it, right? Coming out of pre-med, didn't get into med school. You know what? I still remember sitting in my living room in Memphis, Tennessee, and looking at my family and being like, dang, that did not go as planned. What am I going to do next? That was my question. My question was, all right, what other career am I going to go after? Because my passion was there, right? But the action, I just had to put the work in. I had to put the action in. It didn't work out the first time, but that's not going to hold me back. I sat there and said, what's my next move, right? Research. And after you do that research and you put that time in, it's time for action. People will sit in the planning stages forever. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. If I would have just research, spend a whole year on just researching on what I can do, instead of actually saying, okay, boom, I think this is my best option on what I can do, let's go for it. It's time to put in that work. It's time to put that leap of faith in. It's time. It's time. It's your time. It's your time. You can do the same thing. Whatever it applies to in regards to your life, you can do the exact same thing. Put the work in. If, like I said, my other example, if it's content creation is your thing, and you have all these brilliant ideas, you're getting inspired by seeing other people, take these ideas, put them on paper, say them out loud. Adapt. It may not work out your first time. Adapt, change, see where your audience lies. But you can never be able to adapt if you never start. You may not pass the MCAT, right? You may not do well in your board exams the first time. You may struggle through medical school, through school in general. And it's so easy to be like, this ain't for me. And sometimes, guys, I'll be honest, it may not be for you. That particular pathway, you may figure out and say, hey, my passion lies somewhere else. But don't let a failure on something that is truly your passion be the reason why you completely give it up, because you will look back, whether it's a month, whether it's years, whether it's a decade back, you will always wonder, what if? What if? And I'm not saying that you can't go back and try again, but you will always wonder, what if I actually wasn't scared? What if I was more resilient? What if I said, you know what? I failed once. I may have failed twice, but this is what I want to do. Let's pivot. Let's put that work in, and let's take that leap of faith. Peace.